Okay, guys, so this unit is all about the human body. We're going to review a couple things, and then we're going to jump right in. So here we go. Okay, so we've already talked about the levels of cellular organization in our last unit and when we were talking about cells. So remember, when we start with the most basic, smallest living thing, the cell, cells make up tissues, tissues make up organs, organs make up an organ system, and a bunch of organ systems all working together make up a multicellular organism. So different body tissues and organs are made up of different kinds of cells. The cells in similar tissues and organs in other animals are similar to those in human beings, but differ from plants. Okay, so we're going to continue on. So we've talked about specialized cells, and we talked about what an animal cell looks like, what a plant cell looks like. So moving up from cells, cells make up tissues. So there's different types of tissues. We have muscle tissue, which contracts and shortens like a rubber band to make your body parts move. Your nervous tissue, which carries your electrical messages from the brain to the body to direct and control movements. Connective tissue provides support and links your body parts. So connective tissue is super important. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to like stand tall. Your skeleton wouldn't stay together. It connects your parts together. And then last but not least is epithelial tissue, and that is all like the layers of your skin. And also is in your stomach lining as well as your intestines. So those are your different types of tissue. So we went from specialized cell, so all the cells in an organ are doing the same kind of thing. Cells together make up tissues. We went over the tissues, and tissues grouped together are called organs. And then our organs group together to form organ systems. So that's what we're going to start talking about. Here's the 4 types of tissues and what they look like under a microscope, what I just talked to you about. Nervous tissue, you can find that in your brain, your spinal cord, and your nerves. Epithelial tissue is here. The lining of your GI tract, your skin. Muscle tissue, cardiac muscle, which is your heart, smooth muscle, and skeletal muscles. Smooth muscles like your stomach and your intestines, and then of course your skeletal muscles. And then of course we have our connective tissue, fat and other padding, bone and tendons. It connects your tendons to your bones, which is what helps your skeleton move so that you can you can have movement. Okay, so those are the 4 types of tissues. Okay, so now we're going to get into our system. So our first system is the skeletal system. The skeletal system provides support for movement and protection of internal organs. So that's what it does. It provides support and protection of internal organs. That is its job. Okay, let's take a look at it. So these are all the different bones, and no, you don't need to know all of the different bones, but this is what the skeletal system looks like. This is what provides support for you so you can stand up tall. And you can see right here the ribs are specially designed to protect the most important organ, which is your heart. Without your heart, you can't live, and your lungs. So the ribs right there are specially designed. You can see down here at the bottom, the legs, they're much thicker. The bones are thicker because they have to support more of your body weight. So that's why they're a little bit thicker. All right, let's move on. Your muscular system. So it's an organ system that enables movement of the body and internal organs. We talked about connective tissue a little bit ago. And so we have connective tissue so that those muscles can connect to your bones, and then you can contract and expand your muscles like a rubber band to move your bones around. So we have smooth muscle that looks like that, and we've talked about that a little bit. That's kind of like in your stomach and your intestines. Your skeletal muscles is what attaches to your skeleton to help your skeleton move. And then cardiac muscle is specific to occurring in your heart. So that's your muscular system. Next is the circulatory system. So the circulatory system is super important. It's your transportation system. It transports materials to and from cells. So when we studied our cells, we saw that, you know what, cells, they don't move. They stay in one place. Our stomach cells stay in our stomach. Our cardiac cells in our heart stay in our heart. Our brain cells stay in our brain. They don't travel to go get food down to our stomach and pick it up and go back. They don't do that. So there has to be some kind of transportation system around our body that brings everything that our cells need and takes away the things that they don't need. Okay? So the circulatory system is made up of the heart, in your blood vessels, arteries, capillaries, veins, and then these things right here, the aorta, the vena cava, atrium, ventricle, those are different types of parts of your heart. And then the rest of the stuff that makes up our circulatory system is plasma, that's the clear stuff that you find in your blood, platelets, that's the sticky stuff, red blood cells, and of course we have white blood cells too, which are part of the immune system. We'll talk about in a minute. So one of the big questions for this unit that you need to be able to answer is what would happen if your blood didn't move throughout your body. If your blood can't move throughout your body, your organs can't get nutrients, they can't get oxygen, they wouldn't be able to get rid of the waste, and so the waste would build up, and that would make your body toxic. Heat couldn't be redistributed in your body, so you would, parts of your body that you're working out, like your leg muscles or your arm muscles, wouldn't be able to be redistributed, and they would get so hot that they could actually cook. So that's super dangerous. Hormones couldn't be distributed through your body, so when you talk about hormones, I don't want you to just think like testosterone or estrogen. Think of adrenaline is a hormone, like fight or flight, like, you know, whether you get scared or not. And so those types of things wouldn't be able to be distributed through your body. There's a hormone that makes you feel hungry when it's time for you to eat. Your body's telling you, hey, I'm hungry, it's time to eat. You wouldn't be able to get those messages. And then, of course, white blood cells couldn't be transported to fight infections. So you're going to get super sick. So without our circulatory system, all kinds of stuff is going to fail. The circulatory system is super essential to life. Without it, we can't get the things that we need to the rest of our body systems. Okay, so this is just a picture of our circulatory system, and I'm just going to highlight some things so you know what you're looking at. Right here is our heart, and if you follow the numbers, you can follow how blood is pumped. So we start down here, and I know you're looking at it, and it looks like the left, but it's actually the right ventricle. And then it travels up through here. This is the lungs right here, so you can see all those blood vessels start to split into little tiny pieces. That's the capillaries. And it's blue because it's oxygen poor. So when it gets to the lungs and picks up oxygen, we turn bright red, just like our blood turns bright, bright red. Our blood is never blue. So that's just a myth. Our blood is never blue. It's like a deep rust color when it's oxygen poor, and when it's oxygen rich, it's bright red. So we're over here at the lungs. We've picked up oxygen. Our blood is bright red. We come up here to the atrium, the left atrium, down to the left ventricle. Then we're going up here. And this is the aorta, and you can see it splits into two. So this is going to the upper part of our body and around, and this one's going to the lower part of our body and down. So here's number 7, here's number 8. We're going to go back, down, and around, back. Here's 11, and back to the heart. Okay, you can see that number 3 is over here as well. So when we go out to the lungs, we go to the left and the right lungs to pick up oxygen. So that's how your circulatory system works. Veins are going to be the blue, oxygen poor. Arteries are oxygen rich. They're bright red because when your blood is oxygen rich, it's bright red, and that should help you remember. That's the circulatory system. Next system is the digestive system. So this one is all of your favorites. That's the one that allows you to eat all your favorite foods and breaks them down. So it's an organ system that breaks down food and absorbs nutrients and eliminates solid waste. So when we're talking about the digestive system, guys, and we're talking about waste, so the waste from your digestive system is what you poop, okay? So poop belongs to the digestive system. That is food waste. Urine belongs to a different system. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So digestive system equals poop. All right. So the digestive system includes all of these organs that we're going to talk about right now. Maybe. Here we go. All right. So when we're talking about the path of food, we are going to start at the mouth right here where you eat your food. You eat your food and digestion starts in your mouth right away. So in your mouth you have salivary glands, and those salivary glands secrete something called amylase. Amylase breaks down the starches and sugar in your food, and also your teeth grind down your food, and that's a type of mechanical digestion. So once your food is small enough, you swallow it, it goes down your esophagus, down, 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 down. You can see the esophagus connects to your stomach. Inside your stomach turns and kneads your food, kind of like a baker, like kneading some bread, until it gets small enough, and then it continues down here to this small intestine where it goes round and round and round and round. And your small intestine is called small because the diameter is small. Okay, it is not because it is short. It's actually 20-something feet long. So it goes round and round and round and round. You can see it over here. It comes out where it connects to the large intestine. And then it goes up and around and down. And this part is the holding cell. That's the anus. And then this muscle right here opens and closes to release poop from your body. That's called the rectum. Okay, so there's some stuff that we haven't talked about. So the liver, food does not travel to the liver. Your liver creates bile. Bile is stomach acid. So you can see that the liver is right near the stomach because the liver creates the bile. The gallbladder is just that. It's a bladder. It is a holding tank. It holds bile until your stomach needs it. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. That's why some people can live without their gallbladder. You also have your appendix down here. It's just this little thing on your large intestine. Again, you can live without your appendix, but what your appendix does is resets your digestive tract if you get really sick, and the good bacteria that helps you to digest your food, like the probiotics. I know you guys have heard that word. You should eat yogurt because that's good for you. It has healthy bacteria. You have healthy bacteria in your intestinal tract that helps you to digest your food. And so if you get really, really sick for some reason, your appendix is thought to reset that healthy bacteria. And then the last thing that we haven't talked about is the pancreas, and the pancreas secretes something that helps to break down sugars in your food. Okay, so food does not travel. Let me get a different color. Food does not travel to the pancreas or the gallbladder or the liver or the appendix. Food doesn't go there. Those are called accessory organs. They help with digestion, but food does not actually go there. So the path of your food, I'll draw it one more time. We start with our mouth. We go down our esophagus to our stomach here. From our stomach, we follow down to the small intestine where we go round and round and round and round and round. We come out over here through the large intestine, rectum, and then out the anus. And that is the digestive system. Let's move on. The next one we need to talk about is another important one, the respiratory system. That is the system that allows us to take in oxygen and remove carbon dioxide from our body. We'll talk about the organs that are associated with that system in just a second. But here are some more big idea questions that you need to be familiar with. Why does smoking shorten your life? Smoking shortens your lifespan by at least 10 years if you are continuing to smoke. Lung cancer is the most common form of cancer caused by smoking. Cigarette smoke contains many chemicals that interfere with the body's method of filtering air and cleaning out the lungs. And also, smoke irritates the lungs and leads to overproduction of mucus. And so that's why if you've ever heard somebody who does smoke, they cough a lot, they call that a smoker's cough, because smoking causes the overproduction of mucus, so they always are coughing to try to get rid of that extra mucus. All right, it says, why do you perform CPR on an unresponsive patient? Because it helps keep oxygen-rich blood flowing. So if oxygen is continuing to flow into the body, even if that patient is unresponsive, their cells can still undergo cellular respiration, which means everything in the body is still working, even if the patient's heart is not pumping. CPR allows you to continue to pump the blood through the compressions. And then it says, Why is it a bad idea to see how long you can hold your breath? Because you should never deprive your body from oxygen for very long, because if you are, cellular respiration stops. And oxygen is essential to all the cells in your body. And if they don't get oxygen for a certain amount of time, your cells can start to die. Okay, so it's important that you don't do that. All right, so let's look at the respiratory system. Here it is. So I will show you the path of how air flows. You either breathe in through your nose or your mouth. This part right here is called the pharynx. The pharynx is shared with both the respiratory system and the circulatory system. And then there is this little flap called the epiglottis. You can see right there. Here's the epiglottis. And the epiglottis is what opens and closes. It's a little muscle. So if you're breathing, then your epiglottis is open so that air can go to your lungs. If you're eating or swallowing or something, your epiglottis closes so that the food and whatever you're swallowing goes down to your stomach. So this little part right here is shared with both your respiratory and your digestive system. And right where this flap is what leads down to your trachea. So this, if this is your mouth, your esophagus goes like this, down this way. So there's another tube that goes away from this flap. So this flap leads to this part right here, which is your trachea. Okay? All right, so your trachea comes down and it splits into left and right. Those are called your bronchi. And as we continue, it looks kind of like branches on a tree. These branches are called bronchioles. And then at the end, you can see these little pouches, these little tiny pouches at the end. Those are called alveoli, and they are little sacs that open and close. That's what fills with air. That's where exchange happens with oxygen and your capillaries. You have capillaries from your circulatory system that surround every single alveoli in your lung. And so your blood picks up oxygen from your alveoli and drops off carbon dioxide for you to breathe back out. Okay, so that is your respiratory system. And I just want to show you one more time. So you're starting either nose or mouth. You're going down. Your epiglottis is open, so air continues down your trachea. It branches off into left and right. Those are called bronchi. They further divide into bronchioles and end in the little pouches at the end called alveoli. That's the path of air. It just takes a few seconds from inhale to exhale for oxygen to travel. Okay? All right, let's move on. Oh, this is what I was just talking about. It says, as air travels from the outside environment to the lungs, it passes through the nose, pharynx, larynx. The larynx is your voice box, so I always remember la 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 larynx, like you can't sing without your larynx. That's what gives you your noise. The noise that comes out, it's two muscles that vibrate, and that's what gives you sound. Okay, and so after your larynx, we have bronchi. Remember, it divides into two, then into the little tree branches, the bronchioles, and then alveoli, where oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged with the capillaries. And it takes just a few seconds. I already told you all that. All right, moving on to your nervous system. So your nervous system is an organ system that detects information. That is not a highlighter. That detects information from the environment and controls body functions. It includes the brain, the spine, your peripheral nerves, neurons, autonomic nervous system, and your central nervous system. Your nervous system's job is to control body processes by using electrical impulses via a network of nerves. So this is kind of what it looks like. Your nerves are all throughout your body. The main thing is your spinal cord and up to your brain. Okay, but they go into everything where if you can feel something, that's because you have your these dendrites from one of the nerve cells. So here's one single nerve cell, and your nerve cell kind of sends out these little feelers called dendrites that cover every single part of your body, and it's all connected, and it's through electrical impulses that your brain is able to detect the messages of hot versus cold, hard versus soft, all those different feelings, bumpy and smooth. That is what your nervous system does for you. And nerve cells are the only cells that you are born with and keep your entire life. They don't die, and if you damage them, they don't regenerate. They don't grow back. That's why people who have issues in their spinal cord, they have spine damage or whatever, that's why they become paralyzed, because nerve cells cannot regenerate. Okay, let's move on to our next system, the excretory system. So I told you that poop is equal to the digestive system. Your excretory system, or your urinary system, is equal to urine. So, well, urine equals cellular waste. Excretory. All right, so your blood flows all around your body and picks up liquid wastes and brings them, all that waste, down to your kidneys. So you can see one of the major arteries and one of the major veins come down and they connect to your kidneys. You have two kidneys, okay? Your kidneys are tiny little filtering factories. Inside your kidneys are millions of things called nephrons. Nephrons change the waste from your cellular waste into something called, now I forgot what it's called. It's called nitrogen waste. So your blood brings nitrogen waste from your cells, and your kidneys and those nephrons change that nitrogen waste into something called urea. And that stuff flows down, mixed with some water and salt and urea, down these things called ureters. You have a left and a right ureter, down to your urinary bladder. And that is just a holding tank for your urine until you go to the bathroom to release it. So your excretory system is equal to urine, okay? Your digestive system is food waste. That's your poop. Okay, you need to make sure that you understand the difference. So your excretory system is like a cleaning system. It cleans your blood out because your blood is picking up all of that waste. So then your excretory system is filtering out that waste and getting and sending it down to your bladder to remove it from your body. Okay. Next, the endocrine system. So the endocrine system is an organ system that controls a lot of body systems because it releases hormones. So the hormones are released into the blood, and they regulate a lot of body processes, like whether you're hungry. For puberty, your reproductive system is part of your endocrine system as well. Like your reproductive system releases testosterone, estrogen, adrenaline is released from your endocrine system, all kinds of hormones. So your endocrine system uses chemical messages called hormones to regulate body processes. That's all that it does, okay? And these are the glands. They're all glands: pituitary gland, your thyroid, testes, ovary, your pancreas, your hypothalamus, your parathyroid, adrenal gland, thymus gland. If it says gland on it, it's part of the endocrine system, okay? Here are all those different glands. You can take a look at them. And moving on to the reproductive system, it's super easy. It's just an organ system that produces male and female sex cells. We've talked about those to allow us to create more of us, or allow cats to make more cats and dogs to make more dogs. So this lists the reproductive system, what the different things that are released from our organs. When a woman is pregnant, the placenta and the uterus, they release certain hormones, and then obviously the ovary and the testes develop male and female characteristics and release those hormones to have puberty begin and continue that after puberty, okay? And allows us to make more humans, okay? That's it. Immune system we talked about a little bit earlier. It's an organ system that protects cells from microscopic invaders. I talked about white blood cells There's also things called T cells, B cells, lymphocytes, and they attack things that don't belong in our bodies, like bacteria and viruses and different forms of pathogens that might make us sick. So things that you haven't heard of, T and B cells, they're specialized cells that are do and attack certain things that are affecting our body. They might be specialized to attack some certain type of virus or some certain type of bacteria. White blood cells are really cool. They're kind of like an amoeba where they engulf and surround where there's something where it shouldn't be. So if you've ever had a pimple and it turns white at the end and then you pop it and all this white stuff comes out, it's white because that's all the white blood cells that have surrounded the bacteria that doesn't belong in your skin. Okay? And then you also have something called lymphocytes, and they're just a type of white blood cell. They do different things, but they protect us and keep us from getting sick and help us get better when we do get sick. Okay? All right, so now that you know what all the different systems do, what you have to know is how do these systems work together to help make an organism function. So the digestive system and the circulatory system, obviously, they work together. So the digestive system is going to burn food for the release of energy stored in it, but we can't get that energy to our cells without the circulatory system. Okay? And this is talking about lungs and stuff too. So I guess we're going to talk about the respiratory system as well in there. Lungs take in oxygen for the combustion of food and eliminate carbon dioxide produced. So that's digestive, circulatory, and respiratory. Add it onto your notes. Ooh. All right. Excretory and digestive, the urinary system and the excretory system mean the same thing. The urinary system disposes of dissolved waste molecules. The intestinal tract removes solid waste. So they both help in removing waste from our body. The integumentary and circulatory system. So integumentary system is your skin. And the circulatory system, they help with the transfer of thermal energy from our body. So like when we get too hot, we start to sweat. Okay? We sweat through our skin. So that is how the blood is going to circulate that heat so that we're not just sweating from the one spot where we're hot. We're sweating all over our body to cool our body down faster. Circulatory, respiratory, digestive, again, they all work together to supply cells with what they need and function properly and remove waste. And then our endocrine system, which provides all our hormones, and our nervous system, are two control systems that keep our body in balance. That's something called homeostasis, and we're going to continue to talk about that in just a second. So on your notes, you have this too. This is every single system that we need to know and how it works with other systems. This is going to be really valuable to you as you are getting into your Code Blue and becoming specialists with our Code Blue project that we're going to be doing. So we'll be going through this in depth in class as well. Again, this is just the second page, the rest of the systems and how each system interacts with other systems. And it just goes to show you that one system is not alone. You can't live without one system. They all are helping each other. They're all super important to every other system in order for our body to work properly. And the last thing we need to talk about, I know this video is getting long, is homeostasis. So homeostasis is the body's ability to maintain a constant internal environment. Maintain an internal balance despite changes in your external environment. Okay, so it says the human body has a set of systems which regulate the internal environment and strive to give our cells the necessary conditions they need to function. These systems are made up of organs. Each organ system functions in the human body and works in cooperation with other systems to benefit the entire organism. What that means is all of our body systems are working together to make sure our temperature stays the same. And if our temperature is not staying the same, that we can do something about it to cool it down. And to make sure that we have enough energy when we're hungry. What do we need to do to make sure we have enough energy in our body? What signals are being sent? How is this helping? Okay, so this is just a really an example of how homeostasis works. In your home, if it's too cold, you turn on the heater. If your body is too cold, you start to shiver. Shivering makes your muscles expand and contract. Expanding and contracting creates heat. Heat makes you warmer. In your house, if it's too hot, you turn on the fan or the AC to cool it down. In your body, if your body's too hot, you start to sweat. Sweating causes you to cool down. Remember, we talked about that. As sweat evaporates from your skin, it pulls the heat with it. Remember when we did the psychrometer, when we were fanning those wet thermometers and that temperature was dropping? The same thing is happening with sweat on your body. Okay, so that's one way that our body works to help us maintain that constant balance, that homeostasis in our body. Okay, and then just here's another example. So to maintain homeostasis in our body, evaporation of water helps regulate body temperature. Your kidneys maintain water balance, the correct amount. Like if you drink too much water, guess what? You have to pee a lot more. If you don't drink a lot of water, then you don't pee as much, but your urine gets really, really dark yellow and it smells really, really bad, and that is telling you, hey, you probably need to drink more water. Blood distributes heat through the body so that one part of your body doesn't get overheated. Your skeletal muscles contract and release heat. Your pancreas regulates your blood sugar, lets you know, hey, you have too much sugar going on. It makes you kind of not feel good. Or if you don't have enough blood sugar, it kind of sometimes makes you dizzy, makes you not feel good. And then your hypothalamus regulates temperature and changes in pressure. Okay, so lots of things happening to help maintain homeostasis in your body. And I think that's it. That is it. Okay, lots to go over. If you have questions, jot them down on the side of your notes. We'll talk about it in class. We're going to be doing lots with human body. All right, see you guys in class.